Okay? So it is a condition, it's a medical condition, and in itself does not mean that it's a disability in other form. However, it is recognized as a disability if it is deemed a long-term neurological condition that substantially affects daily life. So this is where the law comes from, Persons with Disability Act. It defines a person with disabilities as those with long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments that hinder full participation in society. So, of course, a lot of these things are supported by medical reports, which then allows the patient to then get their relevant OK cards and the support from the government. The next topic, we'll just talk about driving and epilepsy. You heard a little bit just now. So, what can possibly happen is that JPJ can refuse an application for license if the condition is found that it may endanger road users. And specifically, epilepsy is mentioned in the road transport regulations, and this will affect all forms of licenses. So there is a provision in the law where they can refuse. Now, what about a situation where a patient never had it, it suddenly develops epilepsy? Yes, even then, the law also does provide there is the ability for the JPJ also to revoke. So the director of JPJ can revoke the license based on a medical report from any medical officer stating that there's a level of disease and disability. Of course, I think Dr. Imran touched it earlier, whether or not there's an obligation to inform. Do we need to go and tell? Of course, statutorily, there is none. This, of course, is a very tricky situation here, because you know something is of danger, you tell. But like I said, like I caveated from the beginning, we need to look at it from a case-to-case basis, because at the end of the day, as practitioners, you also want to protect yourself, because you also have a duty of confidentiality under the law. And you do not want a claim against you for breach of confidentiality. But it is a complex issue. There's always an ethical obligation there. This is where ethics and things may collide. There may be situations that there is a waiver of the thing, but you need to look at this. There are situations where the waiver of confidentiality can work. It needs to be in a you need to look at it on a case-to-case basis. But under the general provisions under the law, there is no requirement statutorily for you to inform JPJ or any other authority. Now, this issue of criminal liability, if someone is having epilepsy and then somehow in that situation causes harm to a patient or causes harm to somebody else, now, are they criminally liable for that? Can they be responsible? So, the general provision is that someone is not criminally liable unless the act is done voluntarily. Okay? So, this goes back to basic criminal law, which lawyers will learn in their first year. It's the actus reus and mens rea. The actus reus is your act that you've done. Yes, it might be criminal, you caused harm, somebody had died, somebody got majorly injured. But the mens rea is the thought process. What is the thinking behind it? Was there an intention to harm? So acts done under automatism, without conscious control, therefore, may fall outside criminal responsibility. Okay? So Section 84 is actually of the Penal Code is your defense.
Okay, it acts as a defense. So nothing is an offense which is done by a person at the time of doing by reason of unsoundness of mind is incapable of knowing the nature of the act, or he's doing what is either wrong or contrary to the law. So he does not know what is happening. Okay, but there's always a but. It's not all the time. Okay, you can't just use that. I have epilepsy, so sorry, I can escape the law. Okay, so not every epileptic episode excuses liability. Epilepsy alone itself cannot be used as a defense. I have epilepsy. I'm immune to the law. Now, the burden of proof now comes that the patient will be charged in court, but it is for the accused person to bring up their defense. So the burden of proof is for them to show that the harmful act happened during the seizure, okay? And the fact that they had lack of conscious control and awareness at a particular time. Right? Now, how would this be proved? So, the prosecution would generally bring up the thing that, yes, this had happened, you had gone and caused injury or death to this person. So, from the side of the patient, they will need to bring in evidence, witnesses, they may need medical reports, expert reports, come and to support their claims. So this is where doctors, of course, will be called to court to give testimony in terms of what their findings are in the patient. So it's not an automatic escape from the law.